And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media, always providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, and estate planning, tax planning, all types of home services here, and much, much more here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to help you win in any marketplace. That's our number one goal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. It's all about helping you understand more of your buying decisions, helping you avoid a lot of that commission-based advice that's so prevalent out there in our community. And we do that by bringing on our expert contributors. These are folks that take time out of their busy schedule. These are business owners, salesmen and women, attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, all types of folks that come onto our show and serve as a consumer advocate. So we got Rick Nickerson in the house today. Bottomzupp. Welcome in, sir.
Man, it's always a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure. I thank you so much for your platform, and what you do for the community out there is amazing. It's really helped us. It's helped us a ton, with Bottomzupp Incorporated. My guys, I let them watch the show on YouTube, and we post it on our website and things like that. And, it's just a plethora of knowledge, and what you do for the community goes a long way. And so I want to thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely. It's a pleasure having you in here, and what you're doing with the community as well yourself, providing that service out there. It's excellent. We got Bottomzupp in the house. We got Jason Sallman coming in studio in a little bit. He's going to be talking about cryptocurrency, kind of a unique area that's kind of a sleeper for a lot of people, but could be the next big thing. We'll see. We got a hot listing here in Tampa Bay. I want to let you know about, of course, from Platinum MVP Team, our real estate company. My wife and I own the Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Realty, 1645 Parker Boulevard in Odessa. This is a gorgeous property. We're waiting on the professional photography to come back, but it's 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, open floor plan, beautiful pool home, screened-in pool, and you've got a gated community here with access to a lake. You got a lake area there in Odessa. Beautiful if you're a boater out there. Check this property out. Great opportunity to buy here in Tampa Bay. Property's listed right at $500,000. Gorgeous home right there in Odessa. 861 Mandalay Avenue on Clearwater Beach. This is one of my favorite listings right on Clearwater Beach. You literally walk down the street 200 steps and you are on the beach. So pretty cool opportunity. 2 bedroom, 2 bath for that beach house on Clearwater Beach. Gorgeous opportunity. And you're surrounded by all types of celebrities. You got Hulk Hogan in the area. You got the founder of Spanx living in the community. So it's pretty cool to be able to live in that area, enjoy the beaches, and check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com. And this segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving. Give them a call. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Talk to Gary Thacker. He's the owner. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that they are a first-class organization. They do a wonderful job, and they are highly ranked online. 4.6 on Google, A rating from Better Business Bureau, A rating on Angie's List. And check out Brothers Easy Moving. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got our event coming up as well, Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit. Please share this with your friends. Share it with any veterans, first responders, active military, 9/11 operators. You've got fire, police chiefs, all types of folks that are available that we're going to be doing this event for. So it's going to be Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit presented by the Consumer Quarterback Show. Captain Matt Bruce going to be speaking as well. Catered food from Amici's Catered Cuisine. Come on, we want to see you there. William Crowley, the credit magician, in the house there as well. So check it out. Going to be a great time. By the way, we got big news. We're moving to 860 The Answer. Save that information. We want to see you at 860 The Answer in about on the 26th of September is the exact date. We're moving over to 860 The Answer. It's an honor to be asked to anchor the 4 o'clock drive time. So we're moving up 1 hour, 4 o'clock drive time, 860 The Answer, and that station is packed with national syndicated radio show host. So that's going to be a great move for us, large audience. And I just want to make sure we let all of our loyal listeners like you know about that move coming up very soon. Also, check us out on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Sony TV, and about 85 other smart television platforms. Check out Binge Networks, and you'll be able to find us there. All right, let's jump right into it, Rick Nickerson. We got Bottomzupp here, and talking about folks when you go into their home and you're able to help them, through these transitioning times.
Yeah, we go in and we take the hardest portion of an installation process. We take that hardest part away from the homeowner. What we are is we're a first-class professional removal company that comes in and we provide the services needed, the equipment needed to remove your floors in a timely manner. It's the first part of the process. If you've got ceramic tile, that's got to go. If you've got glued down wood, if you've got glued down carpet, VCT, vinyl, anything that's tough that requires machinery, we've got all the equipment and the know-how. We are the experts. Bottomzupp.com. www.bottomzupp.com is our website. We've got videos and stories on there about success stories that we've got, which is what I want to share with you today, a couple success stories. But I want to talk about today, Brandon, if I could, what's very important in this industry, and I think it's forgotten a lot of times, is that first impression.
Very important.
Yeah, I mean, I always talk to my guys, and the last thing that I say after every meeting is you never get a second chance at
the first impression.
Correct. And
That's
I
right.
let the guys finish that. And it's kind of a loaded subject, because when you talk about it, it's about people. It's about interacting with people. And in the floor removal business, in the real estate industry, no matter, pick a subject, you're going to have that first introduction to your customer. How does that customer react to you? Your body language, your vocal skills, your appearance. There's so many things that go into it. And that first impression really kind of lays the foundation for how this whole process is going to work.
Exactly.
And I mean, I know that you can elaborate a little bit on that, because I know that you've studied so much. I mean, with the FBI, I believe the course that you've taken, the negotiation course that you've taken, and a lot of that, you can institute a lot of that. Mm-hmm. But I talk about my guys, my sales staff goes out. It's basically a complete cold call. We go out to the customer's house, and that first impression goes a long way. How do you establish our company, and how do you represent our company going out, not only from that first impression, but all the way through as we introduce our company and our services to the customer? Yeah,
absolutely. It's super important. That first impression is also, when I'm taking a listing, for example, you're going out to meet somebody, it's like, hey, the first 2 to 3 minutes of your conversation are going to kind of dictate what their perception of you is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so when my sales staff goes out to a job site, and my crews, when we go out to a customer's home, it's very important that we have several things that are in place. One, you're going to have a squared away truck. And what I mean by squared away, pardon if you're not familiar with the expression, that's a military expression that stayed with me throughout the years. But squared away just simply means that you've got, a nice looking truck, well advertised with Bottomzupp on it, that indicates that you're professional. You will have a clean appearance. You're going to have a company shirt. You'll be clean shaven. You're not going to be ruffled, if you will, or anything like that. And then when you knock on the door, the very first thing that the customer is going to see is a smile on your face.
Yeah, I like that.
And it starts right there, simply with that. And then from that, you take that first impression, and from that, then you want to listen to what the customer has to say. Mm-hmm. Then their project becomes the first thing on your mind. You don't dictate to them what you want to do or what we do. You can elaborate on that, but you want to listen to the customer and make sure that you're hearing what's important to them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about, open-ended questions, asking them what's important to you. How do we know we're on track? What do we do if we're not on track? There's all those open-ended questions that you can utilize in that sales cycle that's going to help you be that much more efficient. Yeah. So that's great. Now, you're doing a lot of renovation type projects. You see people, they've been in a home for 10, 20 years, mm-hmm. and they're going to come in and say, hey, we're putting new kitchens. We're going to redo this whole floor. that's an interesting time for people in their life because it's already stressful.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to that first impression. All right, that the customer wants to feel comfort.
Yeah,
because just like you said, it's a stressful time in their life. And
right.
this is their biggest investment. It's their home. And they're dealing with not only you, but say 5, 6, 7 other contractors that don't do business the exact same way, if you will. So it's a very stressful time. And what's important to come across is that you're knowledgeable, intelligible, that your services are going to fulfill what their needs are and in a timely manner. So that goes all the way to when you receive the phone call, my director of first impressions, Hilda's going to be on the phone. She's going to answer that phone call. She's going to set up an appointment, and then she'll give you a time that we're going to call her back to set up that appointment. And then we're making sure that we're on time. If your appointment's at 2:00 in the afternoon, you better be there at 1:45. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
Yes.
Another one of those military, things that you've learned through the years.
Too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Vince Lombardi. If you're not 15 minutes. Yep. So we put all those things in motion, and then we go through the process and let our customers know that they're number one right off the bat, and that we've done this time and time and time again, and that they're the most important job that we're doing at this moment. A little success story is, I had a guy that worked for me many years ago. This is in the early days. He used to, he showed up and said, "Hey, I hear you're starting a company and I hear good things. I'd like to have an opportunity to work with you guys. I don't have a car, but I will have one someday. And I'm a hardworking guy and I'll be here every day on time." So he kind of made a good impression on me from that very first moment.
He said he's hungry.
Yeah.
Is this your success? Let's save this for the next segment. We're coming into a break.
Sure.
But so what are you going to tell us? You're going to tell us a success story.
Basically going to tell you a success story about a guy who had nothing that was willing to put everything he had into our business and where he's at now and how he's helped us become successful 10 years later.
Yes, I love that. I love success stories. So more from Rick Nickerson here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also coming up, our feel-good story of the day. Dropkick Murphys performed special show for 3-year-old cancer patient. Find out about that and more from our expert contributors when we come back. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife and I own and operate a top real estate group here in the Tampa Bay region. Top 500 agents here in the Tampa Bay area, top 1% realtor in the United States. And real excited about the growth around our company. And we want to let you know about a couple of our hot listings that we've got here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Boy Scout Road and Burrell Road, $2.498 million property. It's 10 acres, lakefront, right at Boy Scout at Tarpon Springs Road. So you've driven that road before. If you're in Odessa, you've cut through either Patterson or Boy Scout to go back to Tampa from North Pinellas. This is an opportunity to build 2 estate-style homes, 5-acre estate sites ready to build, $2.498 million. Great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Check out our website, PlatinumMVPTeam.com, PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Also got a property in Tampa, 5822 Schooner Way. This one is in Town and Country, Bayport area. This is a great opportunity for a bay, bring your boat. This is for the boaters. This is bay access right here in Tampa. Just over $400,000 or no, this one's I think it's $640 is what it is. And you got a pool, bay access, freshwater lake, and it's right behind Bahama Breeze, all those cool restaurants right there on the causeway. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com. And this segment is brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort. The official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is the Bilmar Beach Resort on beautiful Treasure Island, Florida. A beautiful staycation opportunity here in Tampa Bay. And it's filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special. The Bilmar Beach Resort has been one of the most sought-after destinations in the Treasure Island area for many years. And from those on quick business trips that add a little beachside pleasure to families on long weekend getaways, every guest here has full access to a vast list of amenities and pool. There's 2 pools on site. Sloppy Joe's Restaurant. Clyde Smith, the general manager, says it's a 2-beer beach. It takes you 2 beers to walk all the way from the hotel down to the beach. So enjoy a great time over at the Bilmar Beach Resort. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we got Rick Nickerson here in studio talking about Bottomzupp. It's his company. Talking about overall general business success and ways that you can, live a better life. And, here's a gentleman that came to you as a success story. He came to you and, he was hungry. What was his opening line again?
If you give me a chance, I'll never let you forget it.
Wow, I like that.
And this is the type kid that, you're starting a company and you're laying the foundation for your company and you're going into people's homes and you want somebody that's going to be hardworking, that's going to be diligent, that's going to care as much. And I teach all those things about, leave it better than you found it.
Yeah.
Remember the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
Just keeping people in mind. And that first impression we were talking about in that first segment goes a long way. So this kid made a first impression on me, many years ago. And I said, I'm going to give this kid a shot. And he happened to live right there in Clearwater on my way home. And I would drive home and there he would at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night after a job. He'd be running and I'd pull off to the side of the road and say, hey, buddy, can I give you a ride home? He goes, nope, I'm good. A couple of weeks would go by and I would be in the same area again, and there he was running on his way home. And he told me, I told him the next day, I said, hey, bud, I'd like to give you a ride home. He goes, no, I want to remember what I'm working for. He goes, I'll have a car in 1 year.
Wow.
And he saved every dime, and he had a car. And he became my #1 crew leader.
Wow.
To fast forward, 8 years. Fast forward, he is now Tampa Bay's area manager, and he's in charge of 40 people. He runs our division in the Tampa Bay area. He just bought his first house, and he's doing fantastic. And he represents everything that we are at Bottomzupp. A young person that's a go-getter, that cares, and that's willing to work for something that's important to him.
I love that one. I'm going to give my Borat very nice there. It's a very nice. That's a great story. I love those stories, man. Those are the stories that you hear that just, brightens your day. And it shows you that some people are in a position where the stuff has been handed to them. This guy had to work for it.
And he wanted to work for it.
Yeah.
And it tells you a little something about his background, the way he was raised and so forth.
Yeah.
And, when I see something like that, because you hit it right on the head, so many people nowadays, they just expect stuff. Everybody gets a trophy and all that kind of stuff. And, and some of that's good. And I understand that. But, when you're establishing a business and you're working for people that you're doing a very tough job and you're making it look easy, you want to surround yourself with good people.
Right.
And, to lay the foundation for our company with a guy like that who cares, that's willing to work hard.
That's right.
And then him turn around and train my young men and women that work for us.
Yeah.
It's just an honor to have somebody like that. And he's still with us.
He's
many
got
years
that.
later.
He had that PhD right off the get-go. He was poor, hungry, and desperate. Right? But he had the PhD, a different kind of PhD. But I'll tell you what, that one sometimes means more than another because he's ready to put in the work. He's that type of guy. He's going to work hard.
Absolutely, and we're proud of him.
I like that. And so when you look at Bottomzupp, we're talking with Rick Nickerson here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And I like what you said earlier with your director of first impressions. From the first call, it really sets the tone.
It does. And, we're very proud. And we knew, many years ago, all the calls were coming to me, if you will. And we were, as we grew and our services we were getting the word out there and so forth, we realized that a lot of people, were getting our number, calling, and we weren't there to answer that call. Or I wasn't. I'm one person,
Right.
This is in the early years.
Yep.
But one person, and then what do people do when they don't get an answer? They call somebody else, right?
That's right.
So I made it a very clear goal for us to answer every single phone call on the first or second ring and provide a personality on the other end that was knowledgeable, that could provide information about our company, answer all those questions, and set up appointments right from the initial phone call. And I'll tell you what, we've increased our business, almost 20% over the last couple of years since instituting this program. And Hilda's that first impression. She's going to talk to you and she's going to ask those questions. She's a kind voice, a kind person that's really squared away, and she's gonna make sure that everything that's important to you becomes important to Bottomzupp.
Yeah. And that's a key to an organization. At our office, we have that as well. Keller Williams. There's Michelle that answered the phones. Director of First Impressions. This is Keller. How can I can help you?
I can help you.
Very nice. That's how she opens up the phone conversation, and that way, it's nice. It's just boom. That's it. So when you think about business success, we talked about success too. What are some of your key topics? I always talk about focus. Making sure that you're focused on your number one priorities. I talk about the Pareto principle. Finding that 80-20 rule, how that applies to your business. What stands out in your mind?
Well, we've got a production method, and what, over the years, if you've ever studied, I've done case study after case study with successful businesses, and what comes to mind is the McDonald's franchise. How in the heck over all these years can they maintain such success at such a high level? At all levels. And, we at Bottomzupp, one of the keys that we have is the exact same thing. We've got a triple play production method. We've got things in place that if it's successful, we write it down, we make it happen, and then we train our guys, our men and women in that. So we're all speaking the same language. A triple play production method is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of the production method. What are you doing at this time? Let's all speak that same exact language. So that, and I don't like this, a hamburger in Tampa is a hamburger in Paris, like the McDonald's thing, but a floor removal in Spring Hill is going to be a floor removal in Tampa Bay. We're going to do it. We're going to focus with the same integrity. We're going to utilize the same production method. And we're going to do it in the same fashion each and every time with one thing in mind, our customer.
Yeah, that's right. Coming up with systems, that's the key. You mentioned McDonald's, some of the most successful franchises, Chick-fil-A, Keller Williams in the real estate space, the number one company in the real estate world, number one company in that space. They have systems, they've got training, they got education, and it's always improving. That CANI principle, constant and never-ending improvement. Everything that we see today, it's unbelievable with technology, how technology is threatening us, from Amazon, potentially having a real estate firm to Zillow getting into real estate. I mean, you've got to be, really investing in education and training and just have that foresight to, again, I quote the Dr. Banfield of Harvard. He conducted a 50-year study into upward socioeconomic activity and who's most successful. And that was the number one determinant of success. It was long-term thinking. You've got to develop that long-term thinking. Otherwise, you're going to be the other end of that spectrum. Think about it as the hopeless drunk, the alcoholic, the drug addict that's just looking for that next fix. Correct. So there's your two ends. You got Gary Keller, Warren Buffett over here on this side, and you got drunks and addicts on that side. But that's long-term thinking, that you implement that plan.
Absolutely.
And that's
in all things that you do. Yes.
All right. So Rick Nickerson in studio, Jason Sallman coming up, cryptocurrency expert here in studio. Going to talk about what's new in crypto, Bitcoin, a lot of those cool areas of emerging technologies as well. And our feel-good story of the day right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we want to remind you about our event coming up on the 12th. We got an event serving our veterans. It's the Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit. It's going to be on Thursday, September 12th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. Catered food from Amici's Catered Cuisine. And it's going to be great lineup of speakers. Captain Matt Bruce, he's a nationally syndicated radio and TV show host here in the market. Also, Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, William Crowley, the credit magician, Patrick Highland, and more. We're going to have a great lineup there for you, and it's going to be Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit Thursday, September 12th. Come on out and check us out. Tickets on eventbrite.com as well. Check out eventbrite.com. We got a Facebook page out there as well. And this segment is brought to you by the Lucky Dill Restaurant, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Lucky Dill. They've got a deli, a restaurant, New York City bar, Brooklyn Bakery. They do catering and banquets as well. Home of the Sandwich That Ate Brooklyn. Excellent food, very friendly staff, fun environment. And it's on Boy Scout Boulevard in Tampa, US 19 North in Palm Harbor, as well as online at luckydilldeli.com. And we're back here in studio, hot listing here for this segment. I want to let you know about a property on 5980 Shore Boulevard, unit number 312. This is a gorgeous condo right on the waterway. And if you look out past the window, you see like the Don Cesar Hotel, the Zamora over there. It's just a great opportunity to own a condo in Tampa Bay. Bring your boat. There's boat slips available as well. This is a gorgeous property in Tampa Bay. And also, we've got a lot of vacant land for sale here in the area. So let's talk about this one here, 9200 Gun Highway, another Odessa property, corner lot, 2.39 acres available in Odessa, zoned RSC-2. So basically, you put some single family homes on there and could potentially get rezoned because it's a corner lot, high opportunity for that. But Odessa is a little bit, slow, bearish on any kind of development. So you might not be able to do that. Who knows? 9200 Gun Highway. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com for all of our real estate properties. All right, so Jason Sallman's in studio, a longtime friend of the program, former co-host on the show back some number of years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, I think it was, Jay.
Yeah, it always makes me a little nostalgic in here. I think we always kind of have a good riff, so it's always fun to be back.
Yeah, man, always a good time. So cryptocurrency is your game, and Bitcoin is one of the main players in that. Is that still the case? Bitcoin's the leader?
Yeah, it's still major. It's actually funny. I think it's been a few months since I've been here, and that's actually changed pretty drastically. So back when I was here on the show before, I think one Bitcoin was around 5,600 or 6,000, something like that per Bitcoin, and it had about a 42% dominance over the whole market. So it was like 42% of the entire cryptocurrency market, whereas now it's more than 70% of the cryptocurrency market.
Wow!
And it's about $9,400 per coin. So it's had a pretty massive increase, not only in price, but in its actual scale of the entire market.
So it's safe to say that's the market leader.
It's the market leader. It's the very dominant. It's the Keller Williams of
okay, there you go.
of the cryptocurrency market.
Yeah, I like that. So what do people need to know? What's some of the misconceptions?
Sure. So I think the first thing, and I think you actually mentioned it before in the show, but it's so important to lead with education.
Yeah. And
so actually in the last couple of months, I actually just took on a new opportunity. I took on the marketing director position for Block Spaces.
Nice.
So Block Spaces is a blockchain innovation studio right here in Tampa Bay. It's actually located right off Kennedy.
Cool.
It's a part of the Tampa Bay Wave, which is like a co-working space that's right there on Kennedy Boulevard. And we're actually moving to Embark Collective, which is Jeff Innick's brand new building that's actually being built in downtown.
Wow.
And we're one of the 5 flagship partners to move in there. We actually get to tour the construction site, like hard hat and all, on Tuesday. So it'll be really cool to see all that. But I think the biggest thing, kind of the biggest misconception I like to attack first, is that people think that Bitcoin and blockchain are the same thing. So Bitcoin is built on blockchain. Blockchain is a technology that's existed for a little while. However, it hasn't become popularized until now. Whereas now you're seeing thousands of companies get in the game of blockchain. And so essentially, a blockchain is just a distributed ledger. It's a way of storing data that's a lot faster and a lot more secure than ways you've done it before. Now, when I say distributed, people tone out when I say that word because it doesn't necessarily mean anything to them. So I've mentioned this before, but do you remember Napster, back in the 90s?
Yeah, the music source.
Yeah. So everyone was downloading music on Napster. So the reason that Napster failed was not because they were doing something illegal. The reason that Napster failed is because they're centralized. All of their system existed on one server. There's one point of attack.
So they got attacked.
So I mean, the government said, we don't like what you're doing, which that's fine. Maybe they were doing something wrong, maybe they weren't. But the government said, we don't like what you're doing, we're going to shut you down. Whereas with a blockchain, it's distributed, exists on hundreds or thousands of computers, depending on whether you're talking about a private or a public blockchain. So there's no central point of attack. So think about like Equifax or Target or any of these big companies that have gone through like massive hacks recently. That's because they have very centralized data systems. All of their data exists in a couple of blocks of servers or one centralized system, and so they have one point of attack. Right. So if you could distribute that data across thousands of computers, it leaves you open to a lot less possibilities of attack.
Wow.
And so what the company actually work with, we actually build enterprise blockchains for companies. So mid to large scale companies, we actually help them store their data and move their data in much faster ways and create efficiencies within their actual companies.
Okay, so blockspaces.io, that's the website where people can check that out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you look at that, and then you look at, kind of like, I think about a VPN also to protect your company. If everybody's jumping around on the Wi-Fi, somebody's sitting out on the roadways trying to tap into your Wi-Fi.
Yep.
So a VPN is going to protect your organization.
Yep.
So it's kind of like that's a thought process.
That's a similar thought process.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is like it is a brand new technology from the perspective of like it's only become popularized like in the last 10 years. But massive companies are getting in on this, and there's real world use cases for it. So to give you an example, Walmart. Walmart's actually using a blockchain program where they realized that they had a big problem with their data set when it came to like produce. So you remember when the big E. coli outbreaks happened with their romaine lettuce or whatever it was. Yeah. So what they actually found out when they looked at those processes is that it took them around 2 weeks just to figure out where it came from.
Wow.
So in that span of time, they had to pull all of the romaine lettuce off of all of their shelves, no matter where it came from. That's extremely inefficient. They didn't really need to do that if they'd stored the data in the correct way.
Oh, wow.
So what they actually found out is that if they used a blockchain, they'd be able to solve that problem of where it came from in seconds.
Wow.
Because you could actually see, okay, it came from this farm was organic and moved to this distribution center, and then it moved to that Walmart. You would know exactly where it came from, where it went from, and you would know the only produce to take off.
Wow.
So that's just like a tiny use case that's being used right now, but it's being used in thousands of industries. It's being used in real estate right now.
Yeah.
There's a company out of Mexico, a very large real estate brokerage, that's actually using it to store titles.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because especially in countries that say there's not as efficient as maybe the United States or some industrialized nations. Actually, to give you another example, in Iran, it's all paper documents that store title. The issue is that if you burn down a building that's stored with paper documents, you've got nothing.
You lost it. You lost your deed.
So, and even if you think about it, even if you try digitizing titles, if you had them in centralized locations, you could, once again, if somebody hacks that server and just deletes all your information, you got nothing. So if it's on distributed ledger technology, which is what blockchain is, you actually have the ability to store that data in multiple points and not.
Wow.
And not have it.
That's super cool. Super cool, man. We're talking with Jason Sallman, cryptocurrency expert. Blockspaces.io is his web address, and essentially, when you look at it now, what's the federal government talking about? Because the federal government sees this as a threat, right? I mean, they want that Federal Reserve, that central banking system.
So when it comes to cryptocurrency, I mean, I think they see all other currencies as a threat. So, I mean, you hear Trump talk on the radio or Twitter or wherever all the time about China and how China manipulates their currency. And it's not to say they don't do that, but it's a threat. It's an existential threat. So we're talking about imports or exports. If you lower the cost of your currency, you can then mess with your import-export level, which is why we do all the tariffing and all that other stuff. But what I love about Bitcoin, so to give you an example, so fiat currencies, which we have here in the United States, that's created by the Federal Reserve. That's a currency of a government.
Okay.
It's only worth what you think it's worth. It's all about the faith that you have.
And faith of the American,
it has no other value than that. So when people sometimes one of the criticisms they use of Bitcoin is that it has no intrinsic value.
Right.
Neither does the dollars in your bank account.
Because it's not backed by gold anymore.
It's backed by nothing.
As of 1971? 71,
yeah. Nixon took us off the gold standard. It was supposed to be temporary, so I'm still waiting on that to come back.
What happened? What happened to that? Yeah.
But it was the same thing. I mean, essentially, the reason that Nixon pulled the gold standard back then was because the French and German government had asked for their gold back because they thought we were printing too much money for the Vietnam War. Wow. And so they said, okay, we're going to bring our ships in and we want the gold back. And he's like, well, just kidding. We're not on the gold standard anymore.
Oh, okay. So
So
that's
literally
what led
happened.
To that?
Yeah, literally happened back to back. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
That's interesting.
So going back to kind of your question of whether they feel threatened, I think they definitely feel threatened by the possibility of what I call a people's currency. So Bitcoin is essentially, it's digital peer-to-peer cash. So I could transfer it directly to Brandon. We actually did this on air once before. That's when we were on here. It took no longer than 30 seconds for me to send him value. And I could do that same thing. I could send $100 million of value to China right now in Bitcoin. And it would take less than 20 minutes to confirm the entire transaction. And there's no middleman. There's no one taking fees out of that across the way. Whereas actually right now, it's faster to send an anvil to China than it is to send a wire. It takes somewhere between 5 and 7 business days, no matter what, just for it to clear. Wow. And that's not counting all the middlemen and all the fees that you have to pay on the way just to get there.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to see like how inefficient that market is, how inefficient the traditional currency market is, and how something like Bitcoin can solve that.
Yeah, for example, like Western Union back in the day, right? Western, I'm going to wire you some money. You know, that's how it goes.
And
that's
the fees, if you've ever seen the fee schedules on what like a Western Union looks like, because like a lot of migrant workers, let's say, who moved from like India to China to work on big skyscrapers and things like that, will attempt to send money home, but they'll pay fees of somewhere between 7 and 11%. So if you send them $200, can you imagine what that actually looks like to see those fees?
Well, that was my family's business. You know, one of our businesses growing up is we would rent to the migrant workers and they would go work the fields. But you'd see that all the time. You know, the Mexicans would come up, they would work the crops in the fields and then send the money back home. And sad, you know, because they're getting taken advantage of.
Sure. But the thing is, if you think about like the age of technology that we're in now, sending money online should be as simple as sending an email.
Yeah.
And so that's what Bitcoin has actually done. It's made it very peer-to-peer in the same way that I send you an email, but there's no real middleman. There's not somebody who's reading my email first to make sure I can send it to you, and then they'll send it to you.
Yeah.
It just sends to you.
Yeah.
And so that's how Bitcoin works.
Wow. Yeah, because there's some implications I want to talk about, potential implications. Terror, you know, the war on terror, the war on, you know, drugs. Like how do drug dealers, how would that affect drug trade? How would it affect terrorism with nuclear bombs, those types of things? I want to touch on those 2 points when we come back. Sure. We're going to jump into our lightning round as well. And our feel-good story of the day, Dropkick Murphys performed special show for a 3-year-old cancer patient. Find out about that and more from our expert contributors. Rick Nickerson in the studio. We got Jason Sallman as well, right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And this segment is brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions. Replenish IV Solutions. Say hello to Steve and Lisa Gunnan. They've got an office on Del Mabry. Or I'm sorry, South Tampa is on Gandy Boulevard, and also Bears up in New Tampa area. We got Replenish IV Solutions. Talk about IV therapy, wellness services, stem cell therapy as well. Replenish IV Solutions. Check them out online and let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives. You're basically getting these vitamin drips directly into your bloodstream, full with all the good stuff that's going to help you stay clean and stay out of the hospitals, especially when the flu season comes. I definitely go, and I go before a flight too. I definitely go and get my injections and get the whole bag in there. It's like a proverbial oil change.
You've done it before though?
Oh yeah,
I've always wanted to do that.
Multiple times.
I'll have to check it out.
I go at least once a month.
That's really cool.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our Feel Good story.
Tell me something good.
All right, so we had Dropkick Murphys perform a special show for a 3-year-old cancer patient here. The Dropkick Murphys performed for Quinn, who is battling cancer and can't leave his home. Quinn was diagnosed with a brain tumor on Friday. In February, he has been stuck in his house in Massachusetts since June, forced to stay indoors after 3 rounds of chemotherapy and stem cell transplant depleted his immune system. When the Dropkick Murphys heard about Quinn's story, they made a pit stop to his home to perform a private show. Quote, a few of the guys were able to sneak over and play some songs for an awesome little fella named Quinn yesterday, the band wrote on Instagram. Quinn has a wonderful family, and they were in our thoughts and prayers during this difficult time. Quinn's family also stated in a Facebook page that started a Facebook page to update friends and family about his progress, and thanks to everyone their support and bringing awareness about his unique situation. So feel good story right there. I like that. I love really the feel good stories.
Yeah.
Actually, I read about it before the whole Dropkick Murphys part was. It was like something that was going around Facebook about a kid who couldn't come outside, and so essentially like his neighbors would like come over and like bring like kind of like toys or be like silly and puppet shows like outside. So I thought that was really cool. But I didn't know that was the same story when you first brought it up.
That is really neat.
And they did, it's not pictured for those listeners out there. You can see him. They're outside of his window with their guitars, like singing to him. He's got his window open, his little shark, and he's just got a huge smile on his face. I mean, to bring joy to a kid that's going through that, that's a great story.
Yeah, that's tough. Such a tough place to be. All right, so our feel good story of the day, and we got Rick Nickerson in studio. Bottomzupp is his company. Jason Sallman, cryptocurrency expert, blockspaces.io, and we're going to jump into our lightning round here.
The lightning round!
I am so good at lightning rounds!
I majored in lightning rounds.
All right, here we go. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Rick Nickerson, Bottomzupp.
Well, we're the floor removal experts in the Tampa Bay area and surrounding areas. We've got a division in the Fort Myers area, Sarasota, Bradenton as well, and we're soon to expand to the northern region. That new Tampa area is blowing up, and we want to get up in that area very soon. But, if you've got a project, if you've got a removal, glue down wood, ceramic tile, glue down carpet, VCT. If it's a tough job, we can do it. We've got the machinery, equipment, expertise. Look us up at www.bottomzupp.com. We're here for you. There's no project too big, no project too small. And we're the ones that are going to create that first impression. And we talked about it today. That first impression is huge. We want to be your guys. We want to take care of all your needs when it comes to floor removal. And our guys are going to create that first impression, which will let you know how important your project is to us and our team throughout the process.
Good stuff. I like that. Check them out online. Jason Sallman, cryptocurrency expert.
Yeah, for sure. I think, no matter what, especially with an emerging technology space like this, you need the education side of things. And so that's actually one of the things I love about Block Spaces. We actually host live events every single week that teach you about Bitcoin, about cryptocurrency, about blockchain, and how it could impact your life or your business. So I'd say just come in, walk into Block Spaces and come to one of our events. You can go to blockspaces.io/events or just search Block Spaces on Eventbrite. All of our stuff's up there.
Awesome. All right. So as you know, I teach branding and negotiation now at the Realtor Boards to the Pinellas Realtor Organization, the GTAR Realtor Association, Greater Tampa Realtor Association. So one of the top things that you use in negotiations is labels. Okay. So a label serves to validate your counterpart's emotion by verbally acknowledging it. So a lot of times they start with it seems like, it sounds like, it looks like. You can even use it feels like. And for an example, it sounds like trust is something that's important to you, and you want to use these every fourth verbalization or so. You're going to use open-ended questions. You're going to use mirrors where you're simply repeating back the most important 1 to 3 words that person said. And what you're displaying through these utilization of labels and mirrors and open-ended questions is tactical empathy. The more empathetic you can be in a negotiation, the better you're going to be able to move that counterpart to where you want the conversation to go and get the deal done. So labels serve as to validate your counterpart's emotions by verbally acknowledging it. That's what a label is. That's what a label will do for you. All right, so great lightning round there. I wanted to ask Jason Sallman, we were talking about the cryptocurrency stuff. I think sometimes you hear about all of the money. I saw one of these documentaries called Drugs, Inc. Have you ever seen that one?
I think so.
It said, the GDP of all of the world economies compared to the GDP, or maybe it was the United States economy. I can't remember for sure. But Drugs, Inc., all the different types of illegal drugs are more money than it may have been the United States GDP. So there's a lot of illegal trade out there, a lot of things happening. How does block space or how does blockchain affect that, or how can people pay through that? Would that be a challenge to the government? Is that something that people need to consider?
So this is obviously talking specifically about cryptocurrency, not blockchain. Blockchain being just the technology that's underlying of that.
Yeah.
So when you talk about cryptocurrency, I mean, sure, can you use? Could you possibly use cryptocurrency for a nefarious act? Sure, 100% you can.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I actually saw the comparison between this and just cash alone the other day, and so we don't even make up 2% of cash transactions, period. The entire cryptocurrency market in general.
The current market.
Yeah. So from a scalability standpoint, like it's not being used for that.
Right.
Now, and it's what I was thinking is interesting about any emerging technology. So when the internet first came out, it was pretty interesting. You would see like news pundits or experts in quotation marks or whatever you want to say, who originally when the internet came out, and so the first things they would say is, "Oh, this is for scammers. This is for pornographers. This could be for terrorists."
Right.
That's the original labels that they put on the internet.
Right.
Because whenever something is kind of has that breakthrough technology aspect of it, people are scared. People don't like to change. They don't want it. They don't want things to be different. They don't want this fad to catch on or whatever it is. And so that's kind of what you see. So this is the same thing. Actually, I would say 5 years ago, that was a stigma, more of a stigma that crypto had on it, was that, oh, well, it's for pornographers or for scammers or for, whatever. It could be for terrorists or drugs or whatever, because it was occasionally used in the case of the Silk Road, which was a very large dark web network that was using Bitcoin at the time as a way of transacting. That no longer exists anymore. But so that was a stigma that it had. But that's because all emerging technologies originally pick up those stigmas.
Yeah.
And there's a reason behind that. So if you think of yourself, if you're a scammer or a drug dealer or something like that, you're always on the absolute cutting edge of tech,
right?
Because you're trying to beat the man. You know what I mean? You're trying to stay in front of the law. You're trying to stay out of jail, and so you're trying to do the trickiest things you possibly can to beat it. And so that's what emerging tech is always used for.
Yeah.
Like when cell phones first came out, like that was immediate. Like all the guys who had cell phones, you were either on Wall Street or you were a drug dealer.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. So those are some of the misconceptions that people are going to think about. Those are the areas that are going to have concerns, and it's not hackable. You're saying the blockchain technology is not hackable.
So no, that's not to say blockchain is not technically hackable. What I said is that, and it's funny, we had this conversation before. Yeah. So Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency that's built on the blockchain has never been hacked in its entire history. So there are other cryptocurrencies that have been hacked because they do not have the network security that Bitcoin does.
Okay.
So to give you an example, like the amount of, I'll simplify this, the amount of computing power that's on the Bitcoin network surpasses all other computing power of any quantum computer you can think of in the world put together.
Interesting.
So there's more security on that network than any other network in the world.
Wow.
So that's why it's never been hacked, is because I had mentioned this, I think, to one of your friends before. I said, well, it's impossible to hack. He said, well, nothing's impossible. And I said, well, you'd have to invent more computing power that exists in the world currently now, to get it online and have it all attack at the exact same time to have the possibility of hacking Bitcoin, which it doesn't make any sense. You can't do that. So that's why I said that. So it's interesting. And that's why, if you think about what Bitcoin is in the sense of it's peer-to-peer digital cash, no one has the ability to confiscate that from you. It's unconfiscatable.
Very cool.
So you can't be hacked. You can't, someone stole your credit card information. That's not the ability. As long as you hold your private keys, which is essentially your secret password to your Bitcoin, no one else has access to it.
Love it. That's good stuff, man.
That's awesome.
Let's see where it goes. That's
it's
already
going.
taken off, man. It's going.
crazy.
A lot more and more companies are picking it up too.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
It's
Big
definitely
time.
the future.
I want to thank Rick Nickerson for coming in. Bottomzupp, always a pleasure. Jason Sallman as well, cryptocurrency expert, blockspaces.io, bottomzupp.com, and all of our listeners, our viewers on our TV show now on Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking us out. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Real easy to pack up some food, hand it to that person that you see in need, donate some blood. Lots of ways that you can get involved. Do something kind for one another, and we'll see you right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.